Hello, good afternoon. This is Craig Anderson at the Nancy Thompson Learning Commons. I'm here to give you a brief presentation on digital library resources. Thank you for coming. So what I'm going to start, this is a presentation that's usually jointly hosted by myself and my colleague, Linda Cifelli. She hosts some of them, I host some other ones. So definitely when you get to our homepage, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second. When you get to our homepage, please feel free to check out the workshops that we offer throughout the year, through both semesters and during summer as well. So I'm going to go right ahead and go to the Learning Commons homepage right here. This is the current Learning Commons homepage. And then the best way to get to our this is the Kean University homepage. The best way to get to our Learning Commons homepage is to just go up to quick links right up here where it says quick links in the upper right. And then that will pull down the drop down menu that will take you to the Learning Commons homepage right here. I'm just going to tell you about a few things available on this page first. I'm going to tell you about the Learning Commons support chat right here. This is a chat service that we have. It's an online chat. It's a 24/7 service. And basically what you will do is put your name, or you can leave it blank, it can be anonymous, and then put a question in here. And then that will set you up to chat with a librarian or library professional worker. If you're coming to hear from the Kean homepage, it will do its best to connect you to Kean University librarian, one of us here. If a Kean librarian is not available, however, it will go to an international cooperative. We all kind of cover each other's chat messages. So your question might be answered by somebody in, I don't know, California or Arkansas or Texas or somewhere. It will be somebody who is trained in like library services and has a degree in library assistance. But if it's somebody from out of state, they might not necessarily be able to answer any Kean specific questions. So be mindful of that. But it is a 24/7 service. You can join the Learning Commons support chat, any hour of the day, any day of the week. If you decide to join Learning Commons support chat at 3 in the morning, you will get somebody who will be there to answer your question. Not me, but you will get somebody there to answer your questions. So please feel free to make use of that. There's other ways to contact one of us. If you scroll down a little bit on this homepage, you can go to library services, this big yellow dot right here. And that will show you the library services page, which tells you a little bit about some of our services with circulation or with research support or library instruction for professors. We have support for students and faculty. But down in this box here, we have a number of different ways to contact a librarian if you feel like you need some help with your research or your assignments. So we have a frequently asked questions here. You can contact us in person or by email, or you can make an appointment with one of the librarians here. If you click on make an appointment, it will take you to this screen where you would be able to make an appointment with one of us. And then you just pick a date and a time. And then when you click continue and you get to the next screen, you can choose whether you want that appointment to be either in person or just like online through Zoom or Google Meet or something like that. And we can kind of go through a one-on-one session with you and find the best resources for your assignments or for your papers or whatever. Usually the meeting time, it's usually like a 20-minute reference service. But as for me, if it starts to go over time, I'm always willing to, stay extra as long as I don't have like an appointment scheduled for right after that one. So this is another way that you can contact a librarian if you need any kind of extra help with anything. So there are a myriad of ways to get in touch with a librarian. And I always say never be intimidated to contact a librarian if you feel like you need any kind of extra help. Librarians are like most people. We're always looking for any cheap excuse to prove how smart we are. So please make use of the library services that we have here. So the most prominent thing that you'll probably notice on the Learning Commons homepage is this WorldCat Discovery. This is mostly our book catalog. They do have access to some articles and open educational resources, but this is mostly for our book catalog. It's the name WorldCat kind of sort of shortens to World Catalog. Librarians love to abbreviate the word catalog to just cat because most of us are crazy cat ladies. I have two. So this will allow you to look for books, as including ebooks, within our collection here. When you do a search through WorldCat Discovery, the books and other items that Kean has access to will come up kind of front and center. They'll always be the first of all the responses. But you can, especially if you're looking for something very specific, you can expand your search to include other libraries as well. And it will tell you, it really is a world catalog. It will tell you if that book is available in any library anywhere in the world. Sometimes if you're looking for a really, really rare book, it'll come up with some like faraway countries that have this book. It's pretty interesting. If you do find a book through WorldCat Discovery, and it's a book that we do not own in our library, you can choose to order that book through something called interlibrary loan. If you go right up here to library services, we have a program called interlibrary loan, and that will allow you to order books, like I said, from other libraries, other institutions and such. Basically, the way that that works is that if it's a book or an article or any other kind of resource, if it's something that we don't have here, we might try and see if we can order it from, say, Montclair University or William Patterson or something like that. And they'll deliver that to us with the understanding that someday there will be a Montclair student that's going to want a book that only Kean has, and we'll deliver that to them. So we create like a free trade agreement between libraries. That's the good news. The bad news is that it can sometimes take a week or more for the item to get here, especially if it's a book, like a physical book. It might take like close to 2 weeks to get the item if you order it. So this is not the thing to use if it's the night before your paper's due, and that's when you're starting your research, like I always did. But if you have enough advance notice, interlibrary loan can be super helpful to you. And the people that we have working for us with interlibrary loan, they're really helpful. They're always eager to help out the students in looking for books. And that will become more important when I start talking about the databases A to Z. So, so that's the WorldCat Discovery, but mostly what I want to talk about today are the A to Z list of databases that we have here. So Kean University subscribes to a whole number of databases here. If I go to A to Z databases, we have 281 databases here. That can be a little bit overwhelming. All of these databases are provided by different companies and vendors to give us access to online articles and other materials, kind of in a free electronic format. Some of these databases are just general information databases. They cover a little bit of everything. Like, for example, we have here Academic Search Premier is a multidisciplinary database by the EBSCO host company. EBSCO is just the vendor. And like I said, Academic Search Premier covers a little bit of everything. So no matter what your topic is, there's a good chance there'll be something about it in Academic Search Premier. And then we have other databases that are similar, but they're more focused on a particular topic, like the ABI Inform collection. That's through ProQuest, but this is purely business publications. So if you're majoring in business, ABI/Inform is probably the best database for you to use. And again, it's through the ProQuest company. They're like a competitor of EBSCO. Those are the two biggest companies in like the research database game, pretty much. JSTOR is probably close. And then as we go down this list, they have other ones here. We have Agricola for agriculture and agricultural information. We have historical newspapers, things like that. If you don't know which database is best for your subject, you can always go up here to this drop-down menu up top here where it says all subjects, and you can pull down this drop-down menu and it will tell you these are the 8 best databases for accounting, and you can kind of scroll down here. We've got economics, we've got English and literature, genetics, linguistics, mathematics, social work, sociology. So if you have a particular area that you're majoring in, or even if you have to do a project on some area that's maybe not your area of specialty, but you're taking a psychology course, let's say, to complete your requirements for your major, you can go to the psychology database, and this will show you all of the different databases for psychology. What it will usually do whenever you go to one of these subject headings up here, it will usually show you this yellow, kind of faintly yellow colored box here that says the best bets. These are the best databases for that particular subject. So if we were looking for resources for psychology, these are our best bets for psychology. And then if we scroll down, this is actually a big yellow box here. If we scroll down, then they have other databases here, counseling and therapy and video, that's kind of related to psychology, dissertations and theses, Homeland Security, digital library is in here somehow. So these ones are kind of sort of related to psychology, but the ones up here will probably be your best bet. So what I'm going to do now, actually, I'm going to go back to all the subjects to get back to our list of 281 databases. I'm just going to go to the Academic Search Premier database. Again, this is through the EBSCO host database. This is literally the second one that comes up when you go to our A to Z list of databases. And I'm going to do a search here. When I do this search, I can just put search terms in this box. But if we scroll down just a little bit, there's all these other ways that we can kind of narrow down our search or limit it to, a specific area. I'm going to search right now for the topics I'm going to do right now is video games in education. I'm interested to see the ways that video games can be used in like the classroom, in teaching and instruction, things like that. So if I scroll down here, I could limit to only full text articles here. Not all of the articles that you find through the databases will have the complete article, unfortunately. Some of them might be full text, some of them might not be full text. If I wanted to limit to a particular date range, like let's say I just want, January of 2017 to the present, I could do that as well. One of the things that I do like to do is limit to peer-reviewed resources. So it's only things that have been reviewed by like other experts in that particular field. So if I'm looking for an article on video games in education, I want things that have been articles that have been reviewed by other people with advanced degrees in the field of education. I'm just going to check off peer-reviewed down here. I'm not going to really worry about the date range. I'll show you something you can do with that later. If I wanted only black and white photos in this, for some reason, I could do that. So I'm going to go up here to the search box. And before I really do my search, I just want to show you some of the different librarian tips and tricks that I know to kind of hone your search to be a little bit more directed towards what you want to find. So as I said before, right now, I'm going to search for video games in education, using video games in the classroom. But like, feel free to apply these different techniques to whatever your search is when you go into these databases on your own. So I'm going to search for the term video games. Video games and violence. No. And you cut. And classroom. Yeah, let me do classroom. So what I'm doing here, this is a few different things that I'm doing here. With the term video games, I'm putting that in quotation marks. I always like to do that when I have, like, say, a 2-word phrase or a 3-word phrase or more. Anytime you have a multi-word phrase, it's always a good idea to put that in quotation marks, because that will keep those words together in the search. I'm not interested in an article that has the word video in one paragraph and games in another paragraph. I only want it when it's video games, both those 2 words together. With the term education, I kind of shortened that and put the asterisk here. This is called truncation. The asterisk acts as a wildcard symbol. So this will search for any word that starts edu, cat, etc. So education Yes, but also educating, educated, educator, educators, educational, like that kind of thing. And I did the same thing with classroom. I could have done this with just class and it would have been um, classroom or classrooms. But then it would also bring up the word like classic or classification maybe. And I didn't want to expand quite into that area. I wanted to keep it something involving like specifically a classroom situation. Now, what I could do here is I could put in video games and education and classroom and school and teacher and, I just keep stringing together all these different words and phrases. But the more words and phrases that I put into this search, the more it's going to narrow it down to that one magical article that's got all of those words in it. And that article might not exist, or there might be very, very few of those. So I like to keep it with 2 or 3 different words and phrases or phrases. And then it just brings me like, 2 million results, and I'll know I, could have been a little bit more specific. So now this is the moment you've all been waiting for. I'm going to do the search now, and this is going to bring me to a results page. Okay, and I've got 300 results here. That's not too bad. I probably would have been better off going into some of the education databases. Do you remember when we put the that drop-down menu that had all the subjects? I could have chosen some of the more educational databases. This will give me a list again. Usually, if you're in one of the EBSCO databases, they have this choose databases where I could choose other databases. And we have another database that's called ERIC, which is an excellent, excellent educational database. Also, education source. Let me do that. Let me see if that comes up with more results. Probably. Oh, yeah, now I'm over 1,746. So that brought me a whole lot more resources. So I can scroll through some of these. I'm looking to see if anything's interesting. If we look over on the side here, we'll notice that these articles go all the way back to 1981. I might not necessarily be interested in an article from when I was in what, 4th grade, 5th grade, something like that. So I can just drag this over. I could have done this in the previous screen too, but and now I'm back down to 526. Because I wasn't interested in video games and education in 1981. That would be interesting though. So now as we go down this list, we'll notice that some of these, this is actually not an article, this is a conference paper, this first one here. But some of these will actually have the full PDF, full text of the article. And I like it when it appears as a PDF document because then it shows the whole document right here, exactly the way that I would have seen it if I had gone to this specific, issue or volume or journal. As I said before, I think this one's a conference paper, so it looks more like a conference paper article. And I can just read through this. Everything will be formatted exactly the same way as in the original publication. If there are any cool graphs and charts like this, it will have those in here as well. So I like to see it when it's available as a PDF document. And then over on the side here, there are all these other little icons here to, if I wanted to print this up, if I was printed out, if I was connected to a printer, I can email this article to myself. And you can email it to whichever, any kind of email address. It doesn't have to be a Kean email address. But one of the great things about emailing this article to myself is that I can then also include like the citation in APA or MLA or Harvard Chicago style standards. So if I choose APA standards, for example, this will send me the full article as a PDF, like attachment, and then it will, in the body of the email, it will have the APA style citation. So I can copy paste that to my references paper. I'm not actually going to email this to myself right now, though. And then I'm just going to click up here where it says result list to take myself back to that big result list here. Some of these say linked full text. Linked full text is it's got the full text somewhere in EBSCO probably, but if I click linked full text, sometimes it will take me to a different screen. So it'll open up a new tab right here. Sometimes this worked in this case. So this took me to the full article. This means it wasn't in necessarily the EBSCO database that I was looking through, but it took me to If I look up at the URL up here, it's from Springer, which is another kind of database company that we subscribe to. So sometimes it will say linked full text. There's one down here that has it in, there's a couple down here that have it as a PDF, which again, it shows us the full article exactly the way it appeared in the original. Something about Minecraft here. But it also has the HTML full text. If we go back, actually they had it down there. It also has the HTML full text. This is just, when it appears as an HTML full text, these are all of the words that were in that article. So you're not really missing anything. It's not quite the same. Sometimes they're lacking, like again, the graphs and charts. It'll tell you that, oh, there's a graph here, but it won't have the full, graph. So again, it's just the full text of that article. So you can still read the full article. It just isn't as quite the same as if it's a PDF document. The thing that I do like about HTML full text, and unfortunately this is something that only happens with HTML articles, is that you can then also choose to listen to the article and have it read to you in an English, Australian, or American accent. Where did it go? Okay, let's do this one. And then this is probably going to read the article to us. I don't know if you can hear that.
One video game in the classroom.
So you can read the article, you can or have the article read to you, you can get stuff done around your house maybe. But that's only when the article is available as an HTML full text. Now you'll notice that some of these, actually, it doesn't have anything down here. Video game vignettes and more in the classroom. It sounds like a really interesting article, but unfortunately, for whatever reason, EBSCO doesn't have the rights to publish this entire article online. There's another one up here that it doesn't have the full article. That's unfortunate, but EBSCO can still tell you that the article exists. And when I say EBSCO, I mean whichever database you're in. The database can still tell you that the article exists, even though it doesn't have the full text. So in this case, we can always try and order this through interlibrary loan and see if we can order it from another library. So that's what we would have to do with some of these that just don't have any kind of full text icon. Sometimes they'll have another icon that will say full text finder, and I'm looking for that one right now. There's one. So this one has something called the full text finder. Full text finder is designed to find the full text of this article, even though, again, it's not in the database we're looking for. But full text finder will look for things that are in other databases, even if they're not, like, for example, EBSCO host databases. And one of the things that I want to point out is that the full text finder does have this little blue-green icon right here. This is like the official logo of the full text finder. And the only reason I'm telling you that is because we have some other databases that just have this little logo and you're supposed to psychically know what that means or something. But if you click on this little logo, it will take you to the full text of this article. It doesn't always work perfectly. In fact, oh, there we go. I guess I had to click on the actual letters. Sometimes it brings us to like a little sad page icon, but we do have an option up top here to open this page in a new window. But in this case, it looks like we're in luck. This took us directly to the ProQuest database, which again, I said is the second biggest database. And it looks like it has the full text here, again, just as an HTML. This is all of the words that were in that article. But along the side here, we can see this one also has the full text PDF. So we can go there and there's the PDF of the article. And then we can download that or print it out or whatever. One of the things that I do like about the ProQuest databases is that also along the side here, it has suggested sources. So if we're looking through the result list and we don't find exactly what we're looking for, if we can find one article that's at least in the right ballpark, something that can kind of work with it. What ProQuest will do specifically is it will show us other articles that are similar in content to this article that we're looking for here. And I don't know, does EBSCO do such a thing? I don't think they do. Really, no, unfortunately not. Although they do have an option here for find similar results using smart text searching, and then we'll try and find similar results to this article. So they kind of have it, but they don't show it right on that page record. This one has here because I chose the ERIC database as one of the databases. So this one will show us full text from ERIC. And again, that one usually works. It will show us an abstract of the article here. And then right up here is to download the full text of that article. That seems to be something that's unique to ERIC, where EBSCO will tell us that it's full text specifically from the ERIC database. One thing that I should warn you about with all of these, with full text finder and linked full text and full text from ERIC, usually if the article has the full text like this won't happen. But when you see these other options, or like for full text finder, every once in a blue moon, it will take you to like a site where you can pay for the article and like put in your credit card number and stuff like that, which I'm not here to tell you how to spend your money, but like, don't do that ever. It's not designed to do that. It's not supposed to take you to a pay site. They're not trying to get money out of you. It's just sometimes either their wires will get crossed, or like the subscription to that particular publication will run out for that database, and it will kind of take you to this paid site. If you're independently wealthy, please feel free to order the article online, but these articles can sometimes be upwards of like, $30 for like a 10-page article. So it gets kind of pricey, especially when they add up after a while. So that's specifically the EBSCO host journal. A few other search tips and tricks I could give you up here. I had video games and education and classroom up here in the search bar. Librarians love to use the AND connector here. This is called Boolean searching. It was developed by a guy named Boole, George, I think. He was a mathematician, so these start looking like math problems when you get really in-depth into the search strategies. And because it's kind of an algorithm, whenever we add the word "and" in between all of these different terms, because of the, I think it's the communicative property of addition, it doesn't matter which of these words we put first. I could have put education and video games and classroom, or classroom and education and video game. It doesn't matter what order these words come in. It's not going to weight them in any order necessarily. But you can also, you don't have to use the word "and", you can also use the word "or". Like, for example, if I was looking for video games and education, but only with like, kind of high school age students, like teenagers, I could put video games and educat with the asterisk, and let's say teen or adolescents. So what I'm doing here is, again, I'm truncating both of these words. I want not just the word teen, but also teens, teenager, teenagers, and not just adolescent, but adolescents, adolescents, different, variations on that. But since I'm using the word "or", I want to separate it from these "and" terms. So I'm putting parentheses around these. This way, the database knows that it's these two words that are interchangeable as far as I'm concerned. I definitely want something about video games. I definitely want something about education. And then I don't care if the article calls them teenagers or calls them adolescents, just somewhere in that age group. So I can click search here. This is probably, oh no, it's only 509. That's not too different from what we had before. This sounds really interesting. The me that I want you to see the use of video game avatars to explore identity in gifted adolescents. Another good thing to use. Oh, here's one in Spanish. I think, oh yes, it says Spanish right there. Sometimes these will be in non-English languages. Over on the side here, you can specify language. If you only want articles that are in English, for example, there's 470. We have French, German, Italian, and multiple languages. So we can choose just languages in English, or if you speak more than one language, please feel free to check, the check boxes off for, where did the languages box go? But please feel free to check the, the box off for multiple different languages. Another thing that you can do is, as you go through this result list, if none of these seem helpful to you, if you can find at least, again, an article that's kind of close to what you're looking for. Like there's this one here. Maybe the rest of these articles aren't good at all, but it's how do teens learn how to play video games. This one's kind of okay, maybe for my search. And I noticed that they have a term here called experiential learning. Maybe I want to add that to my search. Maybe I want to do just video games and experiential learning. See, now it's only 59. I probably could have added and teen or adolescent to this one too. Oh, sorry. Oh, now there's only 2. So again, I narrowed myself down a little bit too far, but these would be really, these articles might be perfect for what I need them for. So please feel free to play around with the different search parameters here. A lot of different things you could use. What if I just wanted experiential learning and teens or adolescents? I could do that as well. That's probably going to be more, because these don't have to have video games, although this one does. Look at that. That's probably the first one I got. This one actually has videos as well. The Museum of Ice Cream. I don't know what that has to do about experiential learning in teens, but I wasn't an education major. So again, that's some of the various different ways that you can use our online databases. One thing that I want to do now is I just want to go back to the Learning Commons homepage really quickly. So again, yes, please feel free to play around with the different databases, play around with the search terms, use like the words and or use quotations for multi-word phrases. But let's say that I'm doing research. Let's say that I found one of these articles here. Yeah, let's try this one. And this one had full text from Eric. Let me get to the full text. Let's say I've just finished reading this article, and somewhere in the article, they're referring to another article like this one, Marsick and Volpe from 1999, talking about informal learning, I guess. And I'm thinking, oh, I'm really curious to find this article because they're talking about, you know, all of these things from this article by Marsick and Volpe. And that article sounds really great. So I go down to the references page, and it's Marsick and Volpe is this one from 1999. Oh, that's from a book. I was hoping to find one from an article. Anyway, and I think, okay, this is great, but where do I find, you know, this book? So I could just copy paste this, and I could look for this in WorldCat. That was the, you know, WorldCat I talked about way in the beginning. Let's say, for example, I want this article down here by Kay Miller. It's a little old. It's from 2008, but it's Grove Street, Grand Theft Auto and Digital Folklore. It was from the Journal of American Folklore. And I think, okay, that's great, but where do I find the Journal of American Folklore? Well, it looks like in this case, they provided a link to us, but would that link work? Where would this take us to? Oh, it took us to Project Muse. Yes, this is something that we do have access to. But let's say I didn't know that. I just knew, you know, maybe somebody told me, oh, you know what had a great article on Grand Theft Auto in education. It was from the Journal of American Folklore. And I'm like, oh, wait, where do I find the Journal of American Folklore? So you would go to our periodicals list down here. See, we have databases A to Z. We also have periodicals A to Z. If you go to periodicals A to Z, this is only going to help you if you know specifically what publication you're looking for. So I could do a search here for the Journal of American Folklore. And this will tell me which of the databases that we subscribe to have the Journal of American Folklore. So as we can say, yes, we do have it in Project Muse. That was the one that we ultimately found it from. It's also available in the JSTOR database, ProQuest Central. That's kind of like ProQuest's version of Academic Search Premier. It's got like a little bit of everything. And one thing to be wary of is that in some of these databases, it has it going all the way back to 1999 to the present. In fact, all of these are 1999 to the present, or this one's 2001 to the present, or 2006. But some of them have it for more limited areas. This one has it from 98 to 2011. So if we were looking for an article from 2008, we would actually be covered here, so we wouldn't have to worry. This one, JSTOR Arts and Sciences 2 archive collection, it has it going all the way back to 1888, which is amazing. But it has this weird full text delay of 6 years. That means that when the publisher of the Journal of American Folklore have their agreement with the JSTOR database, they said, okay, JSTOR, you can have all of our articles going all the way back to 1888, just don't have the full text for the current 6 years, because we want somebody to actually go out and buy like the more recent articles. 6 years is a really long full text delay. Usually it's like 1 year or 6 months, but for whatever reason, when the Journal of American Folklore had its licensing agreement with JSTOR, they decided, yeah, just keep all of our recent 6 years of articles off of the database. But other than that, you can have it going back to 1888. But if we were looking for a 2008 article, again, this wouldn't affect us because 2008 was more than 6 years ago. So we could go to JSTOR if we happen to like JSTOR and go to the 2008 article. Do we remember if it said what year this was? I mean, which volume? 121, number 481. Okay. Oh, 481, page 121. So it would be somewhere in this issue, it looks like. And then somewhere in here would be the one on Grand Theft Auto, I assume. I don't see it. But anyway, you get the idea. So yes, that is the periodicals A to Z. And again, it's only going to help you if you know specifically what publication you're looking for. Although it can be fun sometimes if there's a magazine that you just subscribe to or something that you just want to read, a particular journal or newspaper, you can just go to full text file, or sorry, periodicals A to Z here, and you can look it up here. And we might have access to that particular magazine or journal through our periodicals A to Z list. Like if you want to look for National Geographic. We could do that and see if National Geographic, it's only up to 2021 in all of these databases as we subscribe to. That's unfortunate as well. But apparently they do have it in Academic Search Premier, so we can go up to anything up to 2021 and before, and it will have all of the issues that were in that. So yes, periodicals A to Z can be very helpful as well. There's 2 more things that I want to talk about. Let me just close some of these tabs that I have up here. I do want to let you know about the research guides a little bit first. So these research guides, these are study guides to all of the subjects that are taught at Kean, basically. So if you haven't been listening to any of what I've just been saying here, please visit the research guides. They'll be really helpful to you. If you're studying a subject and you don't know what kind of resources we have at Kean on that subject, you can go to any one of these. Let me just go to the business one really quickly. So and these are by subject, 95 different subjects. So if we go to business, we'll see that we have all of these guides, these study guides for, say, accounting, for business, for company industry information, economics and finance, management and marketing down here. So if we're researching something in the field of, let's say, business ethics, this will show us all of the great resources that we have for business ethics. So it's got some OER materials up here. This is how we find books in business ethics, and it will have some links here to some databases, how to find books in other libraries, things like that. If we want to find articles, again, I did mention ABI Inform though. I told you about the EBSCO and the ProQuest databases, and I kind of mentioned JSTOR and Project Muse, but this will show us all of the best databases for business ethics. For example, we have the LexisNexis database. You might have heard of that one. It's It's a great business and news database, but it's an excellent legal database. So if you ever have to look up like a court case or something like that, LexisNexis is a really great place to go for that. And then on all of these research guides, we also have websites that you can go to. Ordinarily, you're not really expected to go to like just free sites in the web, because we assume anything free on the web was probably done by like, you know, a guy living in his mother's basement, just making stuff up. But these websites here have been evaluated by a librarian, in this case, my colleague Chrysler, to be at least a little bit more reliable sources of information. So we're not going to find just like Bob's site for business ethics. We're going to find like caseplace.org, the Ethics and Compliance Initiative right here, which is the International Business Ethics Institute, Society for Business Ethics, and things like that. There's things here on corporate responsibility, the Better Business Bureau, Global 100, and other like a little bit more reliable websites than just something you would find through like a standard Google search. So speaking of Google, one thing that a lot of students keep asking me, like, what are my opinion on Google Scholar? So you can find a lot of unreliable information on Google, but we also have access to Google Scholar. If you just go to scholar.google.com, it'll take you to Google Scholar, which will it will do a search, but it will limit your search to more peer-reviewed resources. So only things from like scholarly scientific journals and things like that. So I can do a search here on video games, and I'm just going to put classroom, and I'm not going to get too fancy with it because I don't know what Google's oh, so sorry, I forgot to do this first. When we go to Google Scholar, we can go up to this menu up top here. And now this is not going to look very impressive because I've already done this on my computer. But we go to this menu up here and go to settings. So when we go to settings, one of the options here is for library links. Through library links, it will, oh, why do I have Ascension St. Vincent here? That's not there. When we go to library links, it will let us search for our library. And then when we do, it will add it to these options here. So what I've done is I've already added Kean University to the options here. So basically what I'm doing is I'm identifying myself as a Kean person to Google Scholar, so that when Google Scholar does the search, and let me see, can I do the, there we go. So when Google Scholar does this search, over on the side here, if these articles are available through one of our databases that we subscribe to, it's going to have it on the side here. So in this case, students' perceptions about use of video games in the classroom, it's got it here as full text at Kean University through Science Direct, because that's one of the other databases that we subscribe to. Ordinarily, Google might not have been able to show us these particular articles, or it would have been able to tell us about the articles, but not shown us the full text. But since we've gone to the menu and under settings, chosen library links, we're identifying ourselves, hey, we're a Kean student. So this will include options that we have for articles that we get through our databases. So we can just click on one of these and it will take us, this one took us to Taylor and Francis Online, and it's got the full article right here. And there's the PDF. So, so yeah, that's one of the ways that you can just kind of make Google Scholar work for you and include more options by identifying yourself as a Kean student. Okay, if there are no questions, let me just take you to this page here. So thank you for coming. This is my contact information here. If you have any questions about anything, literally anything, I'm a librarian. You can please feel free to contact me. You can contact me by email or phone. You do not have to add me on Instagram. I won't be heartbroken. It's mostly pictures of my cats. But yes, please feel free to contact me, to reach out. And one more thing, if you have time, We do have a webinar feedback survey. If you feel like this webinar was helpful to you, if you got a lot out of this this webinar that I just had, please feel free to screen shoot that QR code, take a picture of it with your device, and fill out. It's just a very brief survey, and it will help us so much for our records, and just to know, like, kind of students are taking these webinars and if they're helpful. If there's anything else you'd like us to mention, please feel free to contact us through that that feedback survey. Okay. Once again, thank you for coming. That's all I have for you. So please have a great rest of your day, and we hope to see you in the Learning Commons soon. Right. Thank you very much. Bye now.